All right. So today's note is about emotions management framework. Again, it's a term that I have come up with, so I'm not, kind of, you might not find anything related to it on internet. But the idea behind coming up with this framework is to deal with certain mental framing that I have, depending on the situation. And a lot of these situations cause mental kind of anxiety and stress for me. So what I'm trying to do is to reprogram my thinking pattern depending on how I react now versus how I should respond to a certain situation. So let's go through it. But yeah, another quick one is that I'm not gonna talk about my current framing. So what I'm going to talk about is first situation, and then second is what's the desired framing, mental framing, and if there is any canned response which is aligned with the desired framing, I'm going to talk about that as well. So first situation, different point of view. When we receive a different point of view, then our desired framing should be to be curious to know more, share our perspectives respectfully, and add value or more input or share positives that you can see in the other perspective. If it's just a different point of view, take notes, create a mental bookmark to come back again. In some cases, you don't need to even respond to it. It's just about listening to it and maybe asking more probing questions to understand the different perspective. So you don't need to kind of respond. But in case you have to respond, then there are some canned responses that I can use. For example, that's interesting. I see what you mean. I see where you're coming from. Interesting you say that. And if I just have to add something to that different point of view, because in my mind I can see that there is a value in that different perspective as well, then I can also say that can I add to that, but I'm still two minds on that subject. So idea is to when you face a different point of view, you stay curious and share your perspective respectfully. And it's very, very, very common in corporate settings. Number two, disagreements. When somebody disagrees with you, our desired framing should be to again find out if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, then change my mind. And maybe otherwise I just need to come back to it again. If it is a disagreement, I don't need to respond to it. And the other framing is that maybe find more data uh, to support my hypothesis or other hypothesis which other person is sharing. It could be qualitative, quantitative, find more evidence to do that. So desired framing should be to find out if I'm wrong, either I'm wrong or the other person is wrong, and if I have to change my mind, I will change my mind. And if I really have to respond to it, what I can respond in case of disagreement, I can say, I see what you mean. I may be wrong, but this is what I think. That's interesting, and you may be right. Um, um, but this is what I have understood so far. I'm not very good at thinking on my feet. I'm more deliberate. And the fourth one is I'll process it when I get time and get back to you if you are okay with that. So these are some of the ways in which I can respond to disagreements. A third one is rejection. So this is a little bit more intense. Somebody might reject the idea, I don't agree with this, or maybe, no, we're not going to do that. Nah, that's not going to happen. So those situations call for a desired framing where there is an opportunity to get better. Maybe somebody is super confident and that's why he's rejecting it. Maybe he's in authority. So you got to bookmark on that, come back again, maybe endure as well, and don't respond angrily or just use harsh words. Just stay curious, stay calm, don't drag that particular point. And you you can also use these canned responses. That's an interesting perspective. I need to process that. Maybe silence and smile. Or maybe just say, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, we can look into it later as well. And the next one is ignore. A lot of times we feel that somebody is ignoring us, but it might not be true as well. So desired framing should be that we should not judge. We should take things at face value. If nothing has been said or done, then consider it did not happen. And a lot of people ignore us when they don't have time or mental capacity to pay attention to, or maybe they might be preoccupied in their thoughts, or they're just doing it just out of ignorance, but they really don't mean. And some canned responses that we can take is silence and smile, or maybe change topic, or the ultimately maybe endure and improve. If somebody is ignoring us, I think it's better to kind of just endure and improve and just move on. The next one is ridicule. It happens rarely, but it has happened in past with me. My desired framing is that just happens with everybody. Laugh it out, smile, forget and move on. No one remembers it. Tomorrow no one remember it. 1 week later no one remember it. You get better. There is an opportunity to improve and kind of crack a joke as well. If you cannot, don't just go overboard. And what you can do in these situations is silence and smile depending on situation. And when somebody, another situation is aggression. When somebody shows aggression, then the desired framing is that you have to set boundaries. But when you set the boundaries, you might not like to kind of do it in a group setting. You might like to do it in a one-on-one setting. And in one-on-one setting, some of the phrases that you can use is that you can tell the other person that they can disagree and they share their different point of view, but they should not use aggressive and disrespectful words. It is not something that you are going to tolerate. And then you can also say that you need to cut the call, or because this is not very productive, and when that person is in a better frame of mind, you are ready to speak to. And then there is another one, which is unfairness. People could be unfair to you as well. And yeah, it happens. In those cases, you got to keep calm, respond with facts. But it causes too much of mental load. And in these cases as well, the canned response is to endure, carry the chip on the shoulder, and use that as a motivation to do better. So these are like some of the situations and how my desired mental framing should be and what I can use as a canned response. Different point of view, disagreements, pretty common, and rarely aggression happens, but if it happens, you got to set the boundaries. Somebody ignores us, don't take it on face value. Just keep doing the thing that you have to endure and improve. Ridicule, you got to respond with cracking another joke, but you may not be able to come up with that, so just smile and make the other person feel like you're trying to be a good sport. You're not taken personally.